When you get in, say hi. Tell me you're here. Tell me who you are. And tell me where you are at. So I'm in Minnesota, in case you don't know. Hey, hey. We're just going to give it a few minutes while everybody gets in. You're at home. For the people who don't know where home is, Amanda, where is that? Florida. Hello, Katie and Red Wing. Yes, I did get my hair colored. Good job, Megan. Amanda's an Otsego. Yes, I actually did not mean for it to be, oh, hey, Wendy in Cambridge and Sydney in Arkansas. She did it darker than I intended, which is fine because it's fallish. So thank you. I hope you guys are having a good night. Amber in Florida. Amber and Chelsea, I wonder how far apart you guys are since you're both in Florida. I can't remember. Oh, Amy Farthing, hello. Amy, I'm doing training. You might not want to be trained by me. Amy is a sideline. She's not under me. Katie in Texas. Becca, I miss you too, Amy. All right, so while I have a couple things we're going to discuss tonight, but why Megan is the Orange Hearts. Oh, Amber said that Chelsea is 5 to 6 hours south of her. Okay. Okay, so while we're waiting for everyone to get on, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask me quick, not relevant to our topic tonight? We're going to be talking about charting and just what I did when I first started. And I was listening, every time I listen to my videos, I can't believe how many times I say So I'm going to try real hard not to say And maybe someone should count and then tell me, and then I'll be really embarrassed, and then maybe I really won't ever say it again. So, anyone have any questions they want to ask me? Oh, like I can't even listen to my videos because it drives me crazy. Real quick, do I just watch? Use this to ask questions. What are the hearts? Okay, so hello, who is this? Who's asking questions? Okay, the way this works, in case you have not been on Periscope before, is that you guys watch. So it's not back and forth as far as verbal. This is live, so I am talking to you guys live, so you can ask me questions. So on the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there is a place that you can type in questions. And, oh, hey, Katie Olson. And, oh, I said, see? Ugh. Okay. So I'm wondering how we are supposed to post the disclosures on photos. Super random. Okay. I'll talk about that in a second. Let me explain how this works quick. So the hearts just show me that you're here and you're paying attention and that you love me. So I love getting hearts. This is being recorded, and so I will upload it to YouTube later. The questions will not show on the recording and the hearts won't show on the recording. So if you're watching this recorded, you won't know what hearts I'm talking about. And I will do, the reason I repeat the question that I'm reading is so that later when someone watches, they know what question I'm answering since it won't show on the screen. So yeah, you guys are more than welcome to ask questions as I'm talking. They disappear on the screen, so I will do my best to keep up with them. So if you ask a question that I don't respond to, and go ahead and ask me again in a little bit. I sometimes have a hard time reading questions and talking, and so again, if I miss it, feel free to ask, like you're not bugging me. I won't purposely ignore any questions. And then the question was asked, how are we supposed to show the disclaimer on the photos? That is a really good question, and probably the simplest thing is just to put it in comments. So you post the photo, whether it's on Instagram or on Facebook, and then in the comments just copy and paste the disclaimer. That's what I'm planning on doing, although I think I posted a photo and forgot to do that. It's a new thing. For those of you who are new and don't know what I'm talking about, on Life Changers you will see that there is something that I had you all read. And so if you go back through, if you can't find it, ask your sponsor and they can help you find it. But corporate is having us kind of post a disclaimer. I can't even remember what it says now, basically saying that results can vary from body type and you've had permission to use this picture, just because there are some pictures that get floated around that I thought you had to actually attach it to the actual photo. I don't believe so. You can, put it at the bottom, like on a pick stitch or something, like create a little collage and put it on there. I don't necessarily planning on doing that because it ruins the look of the photo. Anyway, sometimes people will grab pictures that they think are results from It Works and post them as results from It Works and not actually have had that verified, and then they find out later that it was not results from It Works, and vice versa. So I had the idea that we should put all of our work pics in an album and then put the disclaimer in the description. Megan Lichtenwaldner, are you talking on Life Changers? Put it in the description of the album, then it's just there, do you mean, for them to copy? So Megan Lichtenwaldner said she had the idea that we would put all the pictures in, I love all these hearts, thank you, in an album on Life Changers and then a description, so then we can copy and paste. So we are supposed to get permission on our personal profile. Oh, that's a good idea. So you could do your own personal profile album of pictures and then have the disclaimer there. Anyways, we are supposed to get permission from people. So sometimes I don't get specific permission from somebody, so I make sure that the person I am seeing the picture from, that they know who the person is and that they know, so that permission has been given. So like I can say, this is my friend, Amy Farthing, who has given me permission, so then you know that you have permission. But if you don't, so don't go on any random It Works distributor site and just start grabbing pictures, because you want to make sure, because obviously we could get in a lot of trouble for posting product pictures that aren't ours. Does that answer that question? Any other quick questions before we get started with what I want to talk about tonight? I think I answered all the questions that came up. Awesome, perfect answer. Oh, good. And I tried real hard not to say I don't know how many times I said I'm trying so hard. Okay, any other questions? Alrighty then. Then what we are going to talk about tonight is I'm going to tell you what I did when I first got started. And you guys, this can apply to you whether you have literally started 2 days ago, or whether you're about to join, or whether you started 6 months ago and you just never got going and now you really want to. So the first, I've been thinking through, what is it that I did that really made a big difference? And I know without a doubt that one of the things that made the biggest difference in me just taking off was that I was super excited. I posted every single step of the way. So like when I knew my wraps were coming, I was like, I'm so excited to get my wraps. And I take stupid pictures of myself. And then when I got the wraps, I'm so excited to have the wraps. And then when I wrapped, I showed a picture of me wrapping. And then, of course, I showed my 24-hour results. And then I showed my 72-hour results. And I showed pictures of me drinking water in between, because I knew that, that's what we do. And that was just the wraps. Like I hadn't even tried anything else. So then, of course, once I started trying other products, because I got the booster pack, so I got defining gel and fat fighters and greens with it, and facials. And so then I took a picture of me in a facial, and I tend to be stupid in my pictures sometimes, or very serious, or kind of quirky, or whatever. I generally am not like specifically selling, even in the beginning. That's just kind of my personality. I'm not really good at selling things, but I really like sharing, and I like making it funny. And so whatever. So like I look like Hannibal Lecter with a facial on, so I would talk about that or whatever. So I was really, really, really excited, social media and in person. Now, I personally did not approach most of my in-person family and friends. We were pretty brand new to the community we live in when I started. And so my kids were not in public school. And we were new to our church. We were new to our neighborhood. We were new to the BMX track we were at. And so we were new at, the gymnastics studio that my daughter was at. So I did not want to be that obnoxious woman that nobody knew, that I was like, here, I want to sell you my wraps. So how do you keep finding ways to post about products after a while, yet still be fresh and fun? That is a really good question. Okay, I'm going to finish this and then I'll go back to how I keep finding ways of posting. So I did not want to like bombard people in my new relationships. And so I wanted to make sure that I got time to get to know them first. Sorry, I got distracted with reading and talking. And so I spent a lot of time the first year. I got a couple shirts and I wore them as much as possible. I mean, I probably had 2 shirts for the first 8 months, and I just wore them all the time and accessorized a little differently. And then I posted on Facebook and Instagram all the time. So that way, but I became friends with everybody in person so that they could follow me. So that way I wasn't bombarding. So I did talk to family and friends that I knew really would be excited about it. Family and friends that I thought would be skeptical, I just let them watch. Okay. So what I chose to do is I spent most of my time approaching people on Instagram and Facebook. So I'm going to just I have to make a note so I remember to address the staying fresh posts. And yes, getting your shirts. You guys, if you don't have a shirt, get a shirt. I mean, you can get a shirt for $28 probably. And I am like the clearance shopper queen of the world. And so $28, I don't think I've ever spent $28 on a shirt before I started at work. So now I spend that all the time on my shirts because it brings in money. Like that's how you have to look at it. It is an investment. You're not just shopping. Okay. Or 33. Obviously, I mean, they're anywhere from 28 to 70, you know, depending on what you get, but they are worth the investment. And so I didn't have a lot, you know, I didn't have money when I first started. So I just bought a couple and then I ended up selling literally almost all my wardrobe. So then I could replace them with It Works clothes. Okay. So, sorry, I just got sidetracked. So sharing regularly, being really excited. Okay. So what does it mean to share regularly? You want to be posting on social media multiple times a day. Doesn't have to be about It Works every single time. In fact, don't let it be about It Works every single time. I probably post on average about 5 times a day, sometimes more. What recommendations do you have if we don't have a ton of time or love for friending new people? Okay. So I would say that the way that I look at social media is that it is my networking. So even if we just got a couple to start, that would be a great start. Yeah. If you can only get a few shirts to start with, that is great. Like I said, I had one shirt and like one cardigan, and that is what I wore for months and months. And like anytime I went out, I wore those. So you don't go and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars if you don't have it. The point is not to get into debt being in this business. Okay. So, Jennifer asked, what do we do if we don't, about social media? How do we keep posting to keep it fresh? And how do we keep making friends, especially if it's not something we love doing? So I have really changed the way that I look at social media. It used to be, I posted now and then, and it was a social thing, 100%, just for, whatever, sharing, keeping up with other people. But it has really changed. It has become my way of networking. And okay, so my dad is a area director for a non-denominational Christian organization in the area. And he has to network with people because he has to fundraise. Like that's how they raise money for the whole area. And so he spends all sorts of time networking. He's building relationships everywhere he goes. He is a part of Rotary. That is the way that he networks and builds relationships. I don't even know how else but he's friends with everyone in town because that's how he is able to sit down and have lunch with them or coffee with them and talk to them about young life. And so then he can raise money. So anyways, we have to network. Any business you're in, you're going to network. When I was a photographer, I had to network. I did networking differently then just because it was a different kind of business and I was not as interested in going after it the way I have been with It Works. But if we are not increasingly adding new relationships to our friendship base, your business will stall. And so it has to be a part of your business. It's not really about if you like it. It has to be a part of it. Now, how you do that is really up to you. It is much easier for me to network and add new friendships on Facebook and Instagram than it is in person. Not because I don't enjoy people in person, but because I'm home a lot. I homeschool some of my kids. Now that some of my kids are in public school, that's going to open up an avenue of networking, but that's going to take a long time. Like that's not something that's going to happen anytime soon. So I think I talked about this a little bit last week, but I'll talk about it again. Every single time you meet someone in person, become friends with them on Facebook. It is so simple. Just say, oh, are you on Facebook? And find them. Like that's it. And that way, every time you post, they're going to see it. And if I just friended somebody on a homeschool group. It's a nationwide homeschool group and I wanted to sell it's a buy and sell curriculum homeschool group. And I wanted to buy sell some curriculum on there. And so the woman who I've been talking to, I have friended her now. Like I wasn't her friend before and now I am. It's so simple. Like I might never talk to her again, or she might start seeing me post about one of my products and be like, oh my gosh, this is the answer to my prayers. I've been looking for this, or the business. So the way you have to look at this is that when you're on social media from now on, it is not about just wasting time. It is about building relationships. It's about networking, and it's about growing your friendship base. Does that make sense? If you guys have any questions about that? The other thing is, Jenny asked, how do you stay fresh in your posts? This is something that takes some creativity, and I like to be creative, and I was a photographer, so I love taking pictures. So the photo part isn't very hard, and sometimes I'm very emotional about it. Sometimes I posted a picture the other night of my husband and one of my boys cuddling on our bed, and just talked about how for most of our life that sight was very abnormal because Bill was an over-the-road truck driver for years, and it's only been in the last 2 years that he's been home every night, and it works as allowing him to work less and less. So he used to work 80 or 100 hours a week, whereas now he works 40 hours a week, and that is because of it work. So I posted that, and so pay attention, look around, keep your eyes open for what is different now than it was when you first started, or what do you hope to be different? Because obviously sometimes things haven't changed yet, and that takes time. I still have a lot of things that haven't changed yet, so I'll post about I can't wait because I know. And it can be small. You guys, I remember I have posted about haircuts before. I'll take all my boys at once to get haircuts, and I'm like, there was a time when I couldn't afford to do that. Even if it was $10 a haircut, I didn't have $40 in one time for them to get their haircut. So I talk about that. Or, if you get a fast start bonus, that's $100. If you don't know what a fast start bonus is, ask your sponsor. And when you get that, you can be like, I just got unexpected money, so I can take my family out for something really exciting this weekend. For my family, $100 doesn't go very far. Or you sell a wrap and you're like, this wrap paid for my gas bill, or I don't know, that's probably too little. Or, my water bill, or this wrap paid for lunch out, unexpected lunch out, those kind of things. You also can really just follow other leaders or other It Works people and just take their posts and make it your own. I did that a lot in the beginning when I was like, I don't really know how to go with this. How do you avoid frustration when you are not getting positive responses or support? Okay, so are you meaning that you're just getting no responses, or you're getting people responding, saying negative things? Jenny. Oh, you're probably typing. I'll just answer both. So just that we get no. So like you're messaging people and they say no, or they're saying something on your post. That's what I'm trying to clarify. I want to make sure I'm answering your question. So first of all, if you are not getting people responding to your posts at all, they're not liking it or commenting, ignore it. That does not matter. Keep on posting. You need to post about It Works multiple times a day, or no participation on parties or posts or messaging. Okay, so being ignored, basically, in whatever capacity. This is really, really, really common, especially in the beginning. I bet that I posted regularly about It Works for, I bet it was close to a year before I started getting regular interaction. And a lot of times when I would post, I would get a few likes. There would be something now and then that I would post that was maybe a little bit more emotional or whatever, that I would get more likes. And now I get likes. I get a lot of likes. I get a lot of interaction. People ask questions. I've made a lot of It Works friends, so my It Works friends respond and add their own testimonies, which draws more attention. And so it keeps, bumping the post up. And the other thing you need to remember is that our posts are only seen for a very short period of time, like seconds or 30 seconds or something like that. And so sometimes I'll go down into see where my post has gotten pushed down into my feed, and I'll bump it up. Whether I will I will sometimes wait to answer questions, because then I can answer the questions later, and that will bump my post back up into people's news feeds. Or I will wait to like people's comments or anything, because again, that will, if it gets pushed down, it'll bump it back up into my news feed. So that's a way to keep it up there a little bit. But I understand that it can be really defeating or frustrating when you think that people are ignoring you or are just not interested. Jenny Mortensen is the one who's asking this question. She is a prime example of someone who I had no idea was watching me whatsoever. Probably about a year in, she started asking me some questions about the wraps, and then suddenly just was interested in the business. I did not know she was interested in either thing, because Jen, you had never liked or commented on anything, or if you had liked it, it wasn't enough for me to have noticed, because I pay attention. And so you have to remember that I was pregnant and then nursing, so I had to wait till I was able to use it. Yes, I understand that. But my point is that you don't know how many people are watching you that are pregnant or nursing or have something going on that they're watching you, but they're not responding, they're not commenting because they're just not ready to use it. Does that make sense? I didn't know that. So timing it well will push it back up into the feed. How often should we? Yes, how often should we check back with people? Okay, so yes, our posts get pushed down, and when, if you ever notice, like if someone goes through, is like kind of stalking your page and they like a photo from 2 years ago, suddenly it's at the top of your feed again and you get all sorts of new comments on it. So that's what happens is when it gets pushed down, if it gets brought back up to the top, then, and so sometimes I will, like if I have a really specific post that I want a lot of attention on, I will go to some of my It Works friends and be like, will you please go comment on this post? Like that's a great way to getting interaction. I don't see all my It Works friends posts. I don't see all of your guys' posts, even though I'm your friends. And so feel free always to ask people, could you just, take a quick second and comment on this post that I just did? Obviously not every single one, but like something specific that you really want people to see. And so anyways, the thing that I would say about posting is, as far as how to make it fresh, is you need to be full of expression. We need to be excited. We need to use exclamation points. We need to use emojis. And if you're like, I'm not an emoji girl, I don't care. You need to be. You just do. We can't read people's attitudes and their emotion and their thoughts through text. In fact, I was just texting with my mother-in-law, who tends to have a lot of emojis and a lot of exclamations, and every text was period. Blah, 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 period, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, something's wrong with her because all of her texts are periods. But I didn't have time to ask her because then this started. And so when we just speak very, monotone, that is hard to see the excitement in that in a post. And so we have to kind of over exaggerate. Think about it like stage makeup. You would never wear the amount of makeup around when that people wear on stage when they're in a play. But in order for it to be, their eyes to be emphasized and their lips to be emphasized and their cheeks, in order for it to be seen from into the audience, they have to wear this ridiculous amount of makeup. That's kind of what we have to do. I'm not saying change your personality, be who you are, but you have to like exaggerate that a little bit for people to take notice. And I get that it might be out of people's comfort zones, and that is okay. This business is going to push you outside of your comfort zone. It has pushed me outside of my comfort zone in a million ways. To be honest, I've always been active on social media, but I am way more active on it now, like I said, because it's networking. And sometimes I'm uncomfortable with how much I'm on, because sometimes I'm like, who in the world wants to know this much about my life? But it's the way that I keep my name in people's news feeds. And if I keep my name in people's news feeds, they're more likely to see about my business. Does that make sense? And so when you feel like people are ignoring you, you have got to push that thought out of your head and be like, I don't care, I'm charging through. Because it's kind of like losing weight. If when you're losing weight, you're going to go through periods where nothing is happening and you're like, the scale isn't budging, my inches aren't budging, maybe this isn't working. But then just like that, suddenly the scale budges and your inches budge. And it seems like nothing's happening below the surface, but it is. And I know that you probably hate that answer, and yet it is, it's the truth. You need to keep posting regardless. And if you add humor to it, if you're vulnerable, and everyone's going to be vulnerable in a different way. I'm very real. We have been getting out of debt for about 8 years, and we're almost there. And I've been very real about our debt journey. I have been very real about, missing my husband. I've had a lot of ups and downs over since joining this business. Just like spiritual up and downs. It's been very challenging and yet very, very amazing. And I've been very real about that. And I know that draws people to my page because people have told me that. And so then they want to read what I have to say when I talk about things. So you don't have to be as vulnerable as me. You don't have to be as real as me. How do you recommend posting about products that you have not used or haven't really loved? Okay, that's a good question. I'll answer that in a second. So make sure that, mix it up. Be funny, be logical sometimes, be emotional sometimes, be vulnerable, because you're going to appeal to all sorts of different audiences that way. So how do you talk about products that you either don't love or haven't used? So I have not I have not loved ThermoFit. That has not worked great for me. And yet I know a lot of people who have. So I post about other people's success stories. And then, you know, when people message me and they're like, do you like this product? I'm like, I love this product because of what I've seen it do for other people. I have not had great luck with it because not every product is going to work for every person. And I'm 100% okay with being honest about that because everyone's like, oh, of course. I mean, you could, if you worked at a clothing store, I've gotten my husband to try everything since I'm nursing and I get his testimonies. Exactly. Megan said that she has, since she's nursing, she doesn't use most of the products or any of them. So she uses her husband's testimonies. And I had a friend yesterday say that she had tried the energy drink at an event. She's like, they were amazing. I need to order them from you. And she said that she drove 9 hours, very tired, or she was tired going into the trip, but had an energy drink and it kept her completely alert and focused. And she didn't feel jittery. And I said, oh my gosh, can I share this? And she said, absolutely. Amber Parker has a great new video about trying new products and learning about them, etc. Oh, Chelsea, maybe you could post that in Life Changers if you would find it. Amber Parker is an ambassador diamond that is amazing, super down to earth. You should follow her. Anyways, she said yes. And she goes, and I love the taste. So there's a testimony. I love the energy drink, but that gives me another testimony to share. So I always am sharing other people's testimonies. And then obviously publicly, I'm not going to say, try ThermoFit. I haven't loved it because that's weird. Oh, what I was going to say is at a clothing store, if you go into a clothing store, you can love an outfit, but that doesn't mean it's going to work on you. But does that mean that they shouldn't be selling it? You know what I mean? Like when I used to work at a clothing store in high school and I couldn't wear every single outfit. And yet I would encourage other people to try on that outfit and that wasn't weird to them. That is normal. People understand that not every single thing is going to work for every single person. Does that help at all? Okay, so I've been talking about what I did when I first started. So I said I was super excited, both in real life and social media. I posted regularly, both personally and about It Works. That means that, you know, I post inspirational sayings. If you need help knowing what to talk about, here's a few things you can do. Inspirational sayings, do that once or twice a day. A food recipe. People always want recipes. You can post a picture of what you're doing. As full-time worker, how do you post random non-It Works posts throughout the day? Okay, that's a really good question. And then also you can, you know, post about your family, post about your job, post about your walk or your run or your bike ride or your yoga or whatever. It's amazing the things that people will post about. Yes, Hootsuite is what you want to use. So she said her work frowns on being on Facebook, which is very normal. Several of my leaders work full-time and that is it. There are lots of apps. One of them is called Hootsuite. Can someone post that again? Is it Hoote? Okay, hold on. Someone post the spelling of it, please, so that I can say it. Anyways, you can go in and pre-schedule your post. Okay, Hootsuite. Another one is Buffer. Buffer. Okay, and those are apps that you can go in. So I know people, even people who are home all the time, but just forget to post, they'll go in on Sunday and post the whole week's worth. And then, you know, if you post, I personally don't do that simply because I tend to be way more like, I like to be inspired. So I'm like, ooh, I love this picture. I'm gonna take this picture and then I'm gonna talk about it. Like I don't ever go into my day with any sort of plan about what I'm gonna post. But I know that not everyone's like that. And some people just don't want to think about it, or they like to have it all set up ahead of time. They like to have a plan. So those are great and very easy to use. And they are now, I believe that Hootsuite you can use for Instagram too. Is that right, Chelsea? It used to be that you could only schedule for Facebook. Oh my. I heard Hootsuite posts to limited people. So if you need to use it, it's great. But okay, I don't know that. I just know that Amber Parker recommended Hootsuite and I've heard a lot of people use it. And so I don't know how else, I don't know. It's better than nothing. If you post often, it's better to post in Facebook. If you post often, are you asking if it's better to post on Facebook versus Instagram? Is that what your question is? You have a totally different audience on Facebook versus Instagram. It is amazing that you have to go and publish the Instagram post, but you can schedule and get alerts. Okay. I have two very, very, very different audiences with Instagram and Facebook. So I have people but with Hootsuite, it can chunk the pictures in a folder. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. I don't know much about Hootsuite. You guys will have to play around with that. And you can even Google scheduling apps. I mean, I'm sure there's a million of them, and I believe that they're like those ones are free. Okay. So someone asked me, is it better to post in Facebook and Instagram? And first of all, if you post on Instagram, you can automatically forward that to Facebook. And I don't do that with every single post because I don't always, like John Eric, who is our social media guy, he says, let them be different they're different platforms. And so I tend to post way more about yoga on Instagram, and every once in a while I'll send one to Facebook. But I'll post on Facebook funny things that my kids say and maybe won't post that on Instagram. But I do forward some pictures. I forward almost all of my It Works stuff because then it just happens. So that way you're posting on both sites without having to, think of two totally different posts. So I wouldn't choose between the two because, like I said, you're going to affect a different audience. So I will post one thing on Facebook and get 75 likes, and maybe the same thing if I post on Instagram will get 20 likes. Or I'll post it on Instagram and I'll get 75 likes, and on Facebook I'll get 20 likes. And so I don't know why. It's just a different audience. So I would definitely do both. And then the other thing that I did that was very specific. So I want to give you my specifics that I did. So I was super excited, posted regularly, posted about It Works at least twice a day. Because if you can do one about a product and one about the experience, that would be awesome. And then I have a really itchy nose. Okay. Then what I decided, so I signed up in December 10th, and that was right before Christmas, and I was so excited. Right away I started doing the training. Literally that night, got in my bed with my laptop and started watching all the training videos. And then I started reading through all the documents in the document library, and I started downloading all of the before and after pictures that I could find to my phone and to my laptop so I could just start sharing those things. And by what I mean by what I could find was either in eSuites or in our team pages that have been approved to be used. And then I started messaging people. I just was like, I just want to start talking to people as much as I can about this. So I went through my friends list. I still haven't even made it through all my friends list. And I messaged at least 5 people a night and said, I don't know if you've seen, but I am, how did I say it? I don't know if you've seen this, but I joined this crazy wrap adventure. Have you ever tried that crazy wrap thing? Or something like that. And then I would send my result picture. And before I had a result picture, I would send my sponsor's result picture. And then I would go on to the next one and the next one and the next one. And I copy and pasted, but then added a little bit of personal because, of course, I didn't want it to seem like a spam or anything like that. And so then when people would respond, no, I'd be like, okay, let me know if you change your mind. End of story. If they ignored me, that happened a lot. And then if they said yes, I'm like, awesome. There's a few ways to do that. So I would say I always gave just enough information for them to ask more questions. And so I would say there's a few ways you can try it. One is free, one is for $25, or one way is for $59. Okay? So then they could tell me which one they want. So if they said, well, how do I try one for free? I'm like, get a few friends together. I'll wrap you for free. They can wrap for $25. Okay? And then that would lead to the next question, If they said, how do I try 4 for $59? I'm like, awesome. All you have to do is become a loyal customer. And I waited. And then they would come back and be like, what's a loyal customer? And then I would answer that question. And if they said, I want to just try one for $25, I'm like, perfect. When can we meet up and wrap you? I try to wrap people in person as much as possible because most people I mail wraps to, they forget to wrap themselves. Now it's getting better because I am getting better at making sure that I walk them through and give them all the right instructions and whatever. So make sure that you stay in touch with people you send wraps to. And we're not supposed to exchange money for wraps, but if it's someone that you know really well, I probably shouldn't have just said that on video. Okay. So wrap people in person as much as possible. You can mail free wraps all you want. And then we go from there. So once, so don't just, how often do you do contest giveaways? Oh, that's a good question. Okay. So don't just email or message people and be like, I just joined this business and I'm a distributor and would you like to try that crazy wrap thing? You can try one for $25, or if you're a loyal customer, which is if you purchase a product a month for 3 months, then you also get all this free stuff and you also get free shipping after a while. If you do that, you can get wholesale pricing. Don't word vomit all over them. Give them just enough information to have them come back and ask questions, and then they can choose. So I did that over and over and over again. And that led to, yes, keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. If you give too much information, they're going to be like, okay, next. People don't have enough time to really process that much information. And when they're ready to process a lot of information, they will tell you that they're ready. When I know someone is really interested in hearing details, I get on the phone with them. As much as possible, I get on the phone with them. If we send our own or sponsor's photo in private message, do we need to be using the disclaimer? That's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. Not your own. If it's your own, I would say no. We need to ask that question. Okay, someone asked me how often I do a giveaway. I, again, have no rhyme or reason. You guys, I'm really no rhyme or reason. If we send our own or sponsor's photo, okay. Err on the safe side and post a disclaimer always. That's perfect. Err on the safe side and do it. And because if you're just copying and pasting, it's not a big deal. Okay, so how often do I give away? I give away lots of free greens, as much as possible, and I give away a lot of free greens. I give away a lot of greens, and then I give away some wraps now and then. It just depends on how much I have in stock. You know, right now I have a lot of wraps in stock, so I've actually been like, I'll do some promotions with you guys, and I was thinking about offering to my loyal customers, if you buy the WOW product, you'll get a free wrap. We can give incentives to existing loyal customers. We cannot give incentives for people to become a loyal customer. So you can't say, if you become a loyal customer today, I'll send you a wrap. You can't do that. If someone becomes a loyal customer and you can say to them, if you refer a loyal customer to me, I will send you a free wrap. Does that make sense? So we can't incentive or distributors. I can do whatever I want with existing distributors. I cannot give someone an incentive to become a distributor. So it just kind of depends. If I am having a really busy week and I'm like, I'm not going to have time to actually mail anything out, I don't do any giveaways. And I probably give away greens. Like what I often do is say, I'll take a picture of me like at the post office mailing greens or writing out cards, and I'll say, so excited to be mailing out these greens. First 5 people to comment, I'll mail you greens. And then I message them and tell them they have to text me with their name, if it's Instagram, what their Instagram name is, and their address. So then I can store it in my phone as potential loyal PLC name, and then I also have their Instagram name so that I can remember why I know them, because I often don't know people's real names because I only know their Instagram names. I just missed that. I'm sorry. And then as far as wraps, I don't know. Every once in a while, I'll either do a stupid thing like one of my distributors recently posted a funny, I'll do stupid little things like, oh, I know, one time I did, do you call a hair binder or a ponytail holder? And I am not kidding you. I bet I had 100 people interact on that post. And again, that's just a way to get your name in their people's news feed. And then I was like, ooh, I had so many people interact. I'm going to give away a free wrap. So I just randomly chose someone and announced them as a winner. Or someone the other day said, I haven't had anyone ask, should I say about DT? A friend just asked if I know of work. How do sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking. Can you retype that? I think you're saying you've not had anyone approach you about becoming a distributor, but now you're having someone. Are you asking how to tell somebody about the opportunity of becoming a distributor? Okay, so anyways, as far as free wraps, I'll just randomly be like, I have some free wraps. I have some extra wraps. I want to give these out. So it's really up to you. Okay, so I'll answer that in just a second. She's asking, how do you talk to someone who's interested in being a distributor? So again, the things that I did when I first started, super, super excited, watched all of my training, read through document library. So I started reading product information. Of course, I didn't learn everything right away. And then about 6 weeks in, I decided that I really wanted to go as fast and as hard as I could. They announced the diamond bonus, which was a $10,000 bonus. And so I wanted to get that. And so I decided that the easiest way for me to do that would be to get as many parties as I could. Some people never do parties. I decided that's what would be easiest, because then I could, instead of meeting up with people one at a time in wrapping, I could meet up with 4 to 10 women, wrap them, tell them about it, become loyal customers, distributors, all that. So then I really started messaging people and just said, do you want to get some friends together? I was very specific. Do you want a free wrap? And I kind of just left it at that. Yes. Okay. Get some friends together. And then, so I just booked party after party after party. And that's how I went diamond in 2 months. And then I just kind of kept following up with that. The other thing I did a lot, and I do all the time, I do this way more, I do this all the time, is I pray a lot about my business. I pray about who I know that needs this. I pray that people will come into my life that needs this, both the products and the business. But I message people a lot and say, you've been on my mind and I would love to have you on my team. Can we talk about that? Super simple. I have messaged some people, depending on my relationship with them, and be like, so it's time you join my team. And then I'll do like a, emoji, the weird, whatever, cheesy grin one. So be yourself, keep it simple. Don't be business-like. People, this is a business, but it is not a business. Does that make sense? Like, people are drawn to the relaxation of this and the fun of it and the friendships of this and the easy goingness. And yes, if you're going to go somewhere, you're going to work, but it's way relaxed. And I have phone calls with my kids at home. Like, I tell people, don't wait till your kids are napping. I don't mind if they're in the background. You're going to hear my kids in the background. I've had to pause phone calls while I'm talking to potentials, and because my kids needed me or whatever. A friend asked if I know of part-time work. I think I can tell her now. Okay, so how do you talk to somebody about, if someone says I'm interested or I'm looking for a job and you want to talk to them about being a distributor? Again, keep it so very simple. You guys, it is so easy to just puke all the information on them and then they hang up and they're like, I don't even know what we just talked about. So I don't answer questions that they're not asking. So I say, let's start with your questions. What kind of questions do you have? And they might be like, when do I start? Super simple. Or they might be like, I have 17,000 questions, and that is totally fine. And it might take you 10 phone conversations, or it might take you 2 months of texting. And do not be frustrated by that. You give people as much time as you need for them to really understand what it is that you're doing. And so I start with questions. There's a few things that I make sure that everybody understands before we say, okay, we're ready to do this. First of all, I need them to understand that if they are willing to if they're willing to follow my lead, and by my lead, I mean me and Life Changers, the whole team, then they're going to go somewhere. So that means they need to get a launch party right away. They need to do their training. They need to plug into Life Changers. If they're willing to do those things, something is going to happen. And then I also tell them that they don't have to do this alone. Like, they're not going to sign up and then just be off by themselves. Even though they're working at home, if they stay plugged in, they are going to be very much a part of a community. And there are people who join just because of that. And we all need that. The only reason I went anywhere in this business is because of the community. If I had done this all by myself at home, I would have quit. Because it would have been scary and lonely. So, and then the other thing is I make sure that they know about the investment. Okay. You guys, if you freak out about the auto ship, people are going to freak out about the auto ship. If you act like there is no other way that you can run your own business for $125 a month, this is amazing. People are going to be excited about that. I owned my own photography business. My husband owned his own truck, semi. So we operated our businesses for thousands of dollars a month. So when we realized that we had the opportunity between auto ship and the website for about $125 a month, we were like, how could we go wrong? You spend that accidentally at Target, you know what I mean? And there is no way of making that money back. So what I call it an investment. I say the initial investment is $99 and explain what comes with that. And then I offer them the booster pack. I always make sure that they understand that the small booster pack is only available at the time of sign up. I never want to push anyone, but I've had more often than not when people don't choose that, within the week, they're spending more than the $150 it is for the booster pack to get more product. So I just make sure that they understand that this is a really good deal. The booster pack is $149. It is only available at the time of signing up. It is the best way to get product in your hand right away. And so for $250, you can get all this product, and because of all the wraps you're getting, you sell those individually and you'll recover your cost. That's what I did. I had to recover my cost within the first 2 weeks. So I sold 12 wraps right away because I had to recover that cost. And sets us up so that we can run our business for debt-free, being debt-free, or for no cost, I should say, because they want us to be debt-free. And so then I say for just about $125 a month, they have it set up so that you get a little product, so you can be a product of the product. You have your website in there. You get wraps. You sell those wraps. You cover that cost. You're wrapping people. Your business is growing. You're using products, and your business is growing. And I have never had anyone be weird about the auto ship at all, because they're like, oh, that makes so much sense. You're right. I don't know any business that I can run for $125 a month. And that's it. Any questions about the distributor part? I don't even know what time it is. I'm sorry. I need to put a clock in my room because when I'm periscoping, I can't see it on my phone. Okay, so that is basically what I did to get started. I just started posting, was excited, did training, stayed plugged into my team pages, and asked a lot of questions, started making friends, and reached out to person after person after person. And you guys, I bet in my first month, I messaged 400 people. And I bet in that first month, 30 people responded. But those 30 people booked parties and became loyal customers. And that brought me to Double Diamond. How do you go about selling the wraps by blitzing to random people? Oh, it's 8:45. Oh man, I gotta hurry this up. Okay, I don't cold blitz very well. Cold blitzing is when you just talk to random people out and about. That is not my forte. I have some distributors who, I mean, they can go anywhere and sell wraps left and right. That is not my forte, so we will interview somebody who does that really well. Basically, if you're willing to just start talking to people and chatting, and you ask them, what do you do? And it makes me nervous. Yes, it makes me nervous too. It still makes me nervous. But if you start a conversation with someone and say, how are you? What are you doing? What do you do for work? That almost always leads to them saying, what do you do for work? And you're like, well, we have these natural health and wellness business that I do, and we have these crazy wrap things. Have you ever heard of that? And that's how it is. So easy. Okay, charting. Charting is really, really important. You guys, you need to print off your chart. So this is the chart. This is the first one, executive. So this is, if you have not promoted yet, if you don't have any distributors under you, this is your first chart. These boxes represent people that you want, that are going to join your team. So let's say, I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. Let's say Bob and Nancy join my team, okay? So I put Bob and Nancy. Once Bob and Nancy have enough volume to bring them each to 400 in volume, that means they have sold enough product. Every product has a BV. If you don't know what a BV is, that's something we'll talk about. You can talk to your sponsor about. Once their BV or total volume is 400, each box you have promoted to executive, okay? The awesome thing is now we're going to go to Ruby, your Ruby chart. Ruby is an amazing place to get. So this is your Ruby chart. So if you have not printed off executive or Ruby charts, do them immediately. So now we're going to put Bob and Nancy on your Ruby chart. So there is an executive spot, which is what you just went, and then two other spots. So we're going to say that Bob is working harder than Nancy. So Bob is going in my executive spot. Okay, so Bob is here because he's working. He's signing people, and Nancy's here because she's working, but just not as much as Bob. So Bob actually has two friends he just signed, and their names are Tom and Tim. I don't know why I'm using so many men's names. I have way more women on my team, but whatever. So now Bob has just signed Tom and Tim. So now Bob is set up to go executive. And once Bob has Tom and Tim at 400 in volume each, Bob is executive, okay? So you did not even have to sign those people, but they are in your downline. So all you need is to find this person. So you find, whether it's a friend or a stranger, it doesn't really matter, Susan. Susan goes here. So once Bob is executive, Nancy already has 400 because you need her to be 400 to go executive. And now Susan gets her 400 in volume, and you have promoted to Ruby. This looks simple, you guys. It really is that simple. I went Ruby in 40 days, okay? The only thing I did is that I talked to people. I messaged person after person. I posted regularly on Facebook, and I was very, very, very excited. Okay, I am an excited person. Does everyone go Ruby really fast? No, some people it takes them a year, and that is okay. Everybody's pace is gonna be different, and that is okay. Some of you don't have a big network yet. Some of you have not had a social media presence, so you are building that. If you are going into this business needing to build a network, that's going to take some time. Like I said, my personal network it's taken almost a year to build, but because I had a big Facebook and Instagram network, I was able to build that way. And so if you don't have either one, it's going to take you time. And you guys, that is okay. But it really is that simple. You sign people, you teach them to do the same thing. So you taught Bob to do what you just did, which was go executive. So now Bob went executive. Now we're going to go to Emerald, okay? And Emerald looks like this. Emerald has 2 Ruby legs. That's what you have. So you need 2 people on your top line, Bob, Nancy, or Susan, to go Ruby. So Bob is already executive, and we're going to put Nancy in your Ruby spot. Susan is still on your top line. So So do you see this? I'm not going to go through this whole chart, but that is what happens is that Bob, Nancy, and Susan transfer over, and then Tom and Tim. So when you go Ruby, you automatically have all these people on your Emerald chart. Does that make sense? Does anyone have questions about this? The reason charting is so important, you guys, is because it gives you a direction as to what you're going for. If you're just like, oh, I'm just trying to sign people. Okay, I don't really know what that means. You're not going to know what you're doing. Okay, so this is a diamond chart. Let me show you the diamond chart. Okay, so this is diamond. When I realized that I wanted to go diamond, I got my diamond chart out. I think I had 6 distributors under me, and you need, what is it, like 24? I don't remember. All the numbers get mixed up in my head now. And so I needed to figure out how many distributors I needed, how many loyal customers I needed, how much volume I needed, and I went after it. But if I didn't know that, I couldn't have made a game plan. If you don't have a game plan, you can't really go anywhere. And so if your desire is just to, get some loyal customers here and there, it's not going to be a big deal. But if your desire is to change your future, you need to print. Get your Ruby chart out, get your executive chart out, talk to your sponsor. You guys, I love talking charting. I love talking game plans. It is by game plans that I have gotten anywhere in this business. It is by making game plans that any of my leaders have gotten anywhere. And so if your sponsor isn't available or your sponsor is brand new and you both want to talk to me, I'm available. I would love to. We have a million leaders on this team that can talk to you about game planning and what that means for your life. Because of course, everyone's life is going to be different. So that's what I did when I first started. That is charting. Super simple, especially getting started. I didn't go into great detail, but do you guys have any questions about charting? It's really weird when nobody is responding and I'm just staring at myself in the camera. Is anyone there? Hello? Did you all disappear? Did I lose you all? Oh, there's some hearts. That helps me know. A few more hearts. Thanks, guys. Okay, before we wrap up tonight, any more questions? Yes, here. No questions here. Okay. Anyone else? Did how I got started help you? Did that give you any ideas of how you can work your business? Or do you want me to expand on anything? Or do you have any of your own thoughts that you want to ask about getting started or really working this thing? One thing that I have people ask me a lot is how many hours a week do I work? And I'm not 100% sure how to say that. The last 2.5 weeks have been really crazy around here because I have, because I have sent 4 kids to public school and I'm homeschooling too. And just finding the rhythm in that, I'm still working on finding that rhythm. Yes, start with your executive chart and Ruby chart and then go from there. Exactly. Don't even pull out your diamond chart until you have a Ruby chart filled out because you'll be like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do this, and it'll be very overwhelming. But anyway, so the last several weeks have been very, very busy around here. But because I've been doing this for almost 2 years, I have learned how to work in between things. So I work a lot in the bathroom. I'm like, I'm going to go use the bathroom, which I have to go like every hour. And I take that time to check up on Facebook messages quick. I post on Facebook, I post on Instagram, and I respond to texts. And then that way, when I come back out and I'm doing school or whatever, my phone's not with me. Is there a time frame to become Ruby? That's a really good question. If you have just started, you want to go Ruby in your first 2 months, if at all possible, because then you earn a $500 bonus. But otherwise, no, you can go Ruby at any point. You can promote. I actually had 2 distributors that it took them 10 months to go executive. So remember, this is executive. And then they went Ruby the next month, and then they went Emerald, and now they're almost Diamond. How do you get started doing boosts? Has that worked for you? Okay, so that's a good question. I feel like I was still telling you guys something. Oh, as far as how many hours a week. So I work a lot throughout the day, like little bits here and there, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And so I probably work that way an hour and a half a day, maybe. I don't even know. And then I have a few times a week where I really like to sit down, like tonight. This is work. This will be about an hour, maybe a little bit more from beginning to end. I had a phone conversation earlier today with a distributor who is about to talk to her first potential distributor. So we talked through that. That took 15 or 20 minutes. I just signed 2 new distributors. So we've been texting and messaging and chatting about that. Sometimes I work an hour a day, sometimes I work 4 hours a day, but it goes with the rhythm of my life. So I don't have to I mean, like my kids rarely know that I'm working because it just kind of happens within my life. So someone's asking about booths, vendor events, that kind of thing. They are an amazing way to get new leads, to get names of people that you don't know. It's a great way to break into a cold market. The thing about vendor events is that they can be very expensive. Don't spend a lot of money on them. I would say like $50 or less. I don't think I've ever spent more than that. If it's a little bit more, then split it with people. Or, you know, if it's more than that for several days, definitely split it with people. And I would say try not to have more than 2, maybe 3 distributors at a booth at a time, or at the event at a time. The biggest thing about vendor events is that you have to get people's information. If you are not like, here, fill this out, we're giving away a free product, put your information and I'll enter you in a drawing, and they just kind of browse and walk away, then it has done you no good. So you have to get people's information. So you stand in front of the table, you never stand behind it unless if you have to. I was at an event once where I had to. The way it was lined up, I couldn't stand in front of it. So then I was just very much like, hey, have you ever tried this crazy rap thing? What kind of questions do you have? How long did it take you to get in your work rhythm to be efficient and not let it overtake your life? Okay, I'll answer that in just a second. So as far as vendor events, they're amazing. You have to get information while you're there, and you have to follow up. And I think the rule is like 3, 3, 3. So you follow up within 3 days, and then you follow up within 3 weeks, or 3 weeks, and then, oh, now I'm saying it wrong. You want to follow up right away, and you will have to follow up many, many times. It's rarely the kind of thing where you follow up and they're like, yep, I want to be a loyal customer or distributor. You have to stay consistent. In fact, I have somebody who I met at a vendor event over a year ago, and we have been Facebook friends, and we have been chatting, and she's really close to either becoming a loyal customer or distributor because she's been watching me and asking questions and really interested in the products and the business. I have somebody else who about 8 months ago, she said she wanted to do a party from an vendor event, and now I have been staying in touch with her every couple months, and she's like, oh, this month's not going to work. This month's not going to work. And now she's like, these are my friends. Like I met her friends. She's like, these are the ones I want to do a party with. So you just have to, as long as you're willing to stay consistently following up with them, you'll be fine. And then they'll be awesome. And like I said, they'll break you into your cold market. How long did it take me to find my work rhythm and not let it overtake my life? To be honest with you, I worked way, way, way too much the first couple months. I didn't know how to put my phone down. I didn't know how to not interact with people all the time. And so after a couple months, I started being like, I need to figure this out. And so, hi, Megan Daniels. And so it took me a few months, maybe even 6 months. But you guys, we're always going to kind of try to have to find our rhythm. I have had a lot of things happen in the last 2 years. We had a teenager and her baby living with us, and in the midst of this, left really dramatically and really painfully. Like, it was a really bad experience. In the midst of the last 21 months that I've been doing this, my sister was suicidal. So my whole life kind of stopped in its tracks while I took care of her. Almost a year ago, we adopted our teenage daughter, and that obviously has flipped our life upside down in all sorts of ways. And she was in public school, so even just that, was a transition, let alone a girl we did not know becoming our daughter. And then we, this year, I said we sent 4 to public school and now 2 are homeschooled. And so you're going to always kind of have to tweak. The best way to make sure that you don't let it take it over your life is you have boundaries where you can. So like, I do not work in the morning. I get up around 5 and I have quiet time and I get my kids to school. I don't do any work in the morning before I have my quiet time. And I really rarely even check my phone before I send my kids to school. And then at night when I get in bed, I kind of check a few last things, comment on a few last things, and then I put my phone away. Bill's okay with it. He doesn't really care, but I need to, because I need to be able to shut down and go to sleep. I don't work at dinner time. I don't work at breakfast time. I don't work at, meal times. And so talk to your family and figure out what boundaries you need to put around you and stick to them so that as your life rhythm changes, you know for sure what works for you. Does that make sense? Like I said, I utilize bathroom time a lot. My kids probably think it takes me 10 minutes to pee because I always sit in there and catch up on a few things so that I'm not always on my phone. Any other questions? We should wrap this up because I know it's starting. I don't want it to be too late. Not sure if it's already on documents and life changers, but if not, can we do something with the, it got cut off. I'm not sure what she's asking. Messaging with pics. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking. There is a post that was just posted in the last few days on Life Changers about the picture. Sorry, Amber. I don't know what question you're asking me. So, okay. Oh, PLCs. Okay. So you want me to put you want a document on Life Changers about PLCs? What specifically are you wanting? I think I'll let you, about messaging PLCs. Okay. Amber, why don't you message with me later? Like send me a Facebook message and we'll chat and I'll make sure that I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, you guys, we're going to wrap this up. One more question. Oh, good. I'm glad this was great information. One last question before we wrap up the night. If not, I'm going to say good night. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. Bye-bye.